Hello, everyone. Welcome back to CryptoCache. Thanks so much for joining me here. We're going to take a quick look at Floki. And just before we do, peek at Bitcoin, kind of see what's going on there with Bitcoin. So just to jump right in here to Bitcoin, we do have, I wouldn't say a problem, but we're absolutely below the resistance level of 58,000, even though the price just ramped back up here today. We can see that there is a potential resistance there, right? So we need to kind of honor that and respect it, wait for the one-day candlestick to close above, then we should be in good shape. Now, this little channel here, these little green boxes you see here, 56 to 58, 52 to 54, that is essentially the buy zones for our dollar cost average within my community. So I recommend you might consider dollar cost averaging until you get to this lower section, if that were to happen. Now, there's no guarantees it's going to happen, but it just seems like we keep having this same pattern here from Bitcoin. Price comes down, a little dead cat, kind of keep getting these fake outs. So we'll see what happens soon. Of course, it's too early to tell, but don't think that Bitcoin's just automatically back on track. Throw all your money in the bag because the fact that we just had a bounce off of a 56,000, which wasn't even a support level, right? It's currently going to be acting as one, but until that one-day candlestick close, it really means nothing, right? Because the previous candlestick closed below. So, all in all, that's kind of where we're at. We also, just a note here, we had the death cross coming to fruition, essentially, likely pushing the price down. We'll see if it recovers here soon, but I'm not so optimistic, even though I really, really want it to obviously come back. Just be mindful. It could still be a trap. All right, so taking a look here at Floki. Let's go ahead and take a look at the big picture first, see what's going on. Obviously, we had a really strong three days there, which we got the three white soldiers, followed by a red day, consolidation, increase, and dump back down to the bottom. All right, so keep in mind here, let's take a look. November 10th was a red day, of course. That was the day in which Bitcoin first sold off, and the more recent options here are coming down. So for lack of better terms, Floki has been fairly respondent to Bitcoin selling off. It did very well when Bitcoin was stable. When Bitcoin became unstable, the price came down, and now it's right back up again. So keep this in mind. The price is probably back up, not necessarily because Bitcoin's up on the day. It's probably more so up because the simple fact that it shouldn't have gone much lower than it did, right? In other words, I'd say the established value, the lowest point which we should see, is about 15,500. So let's see what's going on here. Let's go ahead and let's draw up the Fibonacci retracement lines, and we'll go ahead and look at some of the normal stuff here as well. We can see obviously a nice support level there, right about 13,500. Price would not go lower than that lower Fibonacci retracement line. And we see that happen quite a lot. That lower red section is rarely going to be utilized, or the price doesn't go down that low until it's extremely dire. And we are not at that point right now. All right, so let's go ahead and look at some stuff here. We don't have too much data, of course, based on the lack of trading data here on this exchange, but you can see the price almost bounced off of 30. Basically, it came below 50 for a short while, and now it's back above 50. That's a great sign. We want to see the RSI over 50 in any normal circumstance on the one-day chart. We've also got a potential MACD convergence. Of course, this is a long ways away, but the MACD could swing back up, and this one could keep going. So when the 12 intersects with the 26 in an upward fashion for the exponential moving averages, that's what the MACD is doing, basically telling us there's a shift in momentum from bearish to bullish. So I would say that we are on the right track here. We're not officially out of bear town, but it's looking very good. I'm sure the smaller time frames will reflect that, and we'll see what's going on here. So one thing to note here as well, keep this in mind, Bitcoin is doing well in the last 8 hours, not in the last 24 hours. So Floki bounced off of this support level here at about 13,500 well before any of this happened and Bitcoin found its quote unquote bottom, tentative bottom, right? So that being said, on the 4-hour chart here, we're looking pretty good here for Floki. So I like that. We're also just peaking above the 50-day simple moving average, and this could work effectively as a support level, and the 200 is coming through to save the day. So this could really, really work very well if the 50 were to kind of just average itself out, and the 200 were just kind of continue on its way. So all in all, looking good. I like what I see here on the 4-hour chart as well. We're back up over 50 and under 70, so plenty more room for growth. We just gotta kind of see how we can get past this resistance level right about 22,700. But we do have a MACD convergence on the 4-hour chart, which to me is the most reflective way to understand if the momentum has officially shifted. Sure, on the one-day chart it hasn't shown that yet. It's a bit of a lag, right? It's a full 24 hours. Every 4 hours, this is effectively telling us, hey, we've got a MACD convergence, and what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and mark that and see where that lines up on the cloud on the next chart. Let's take a look at the 1 hour, see what's going on. So go ahead and take a quick peek at the Ichimoku Cloud. We can see just before the cloud breakthrough, the price was converging. So we basically got a MACD convergence here. 4 to 6 hours later, price breaks above the cloud, and it's been hunky-dory ever since. So if you're going to look for 2 indicators, if you're ever going to use 2 indicators for the rest of your life, right? I always ask this. If you're stuck on an island, you had 2 indicators left to use, what would it be? And to me, it'd be the MACD convergence and, of course, the Ichimoku Cloud. Now, there's a few other moving parts for the Ichimoku Cloud we're not looking at here, of course, and they are also very helpful with the lagging span, baseline, and conversion line. But generally speaking, without confusing it, price being above the cloud is a very helpful sign. But the key takeaway is that when we have this little inception here, of course, where the lagging span, or correction, the baseline is lower than this conversion line, then it's a good sign to buy. And that happened just before the MACD convergence. So if we go ahead and take a look at what the TD sequential next, we'll go ahead and see here as well. We're at a 9, right? So we've had 9 hours of bullish momentum. And that essentially means that we need to get a reset. So a reset is basically just the price either going sideways or consolidating. Or sorry, consolidation is going sideways. It's consolidating or retracing. Now, right now, I feel as if even though this was a pretty significant increase, we're not going to see the price come down. It'll probably go sideways and effectively break this resistance level to the upside. I think that's more likely the case. It'll consolidate near the top, or even break through right now as we're speaking, and kind of get on its way, right? But I think it's pretty likely it's going to continue upwards more so than downwards, just based on the sheer fact that it's been held down for so long. Now, granted, Bitcoin goes 54,000 in the next 10 hours. Different story, likely, okay? We got to understand that. Floki has responded negatively to Bitcoin sell-offs, but it was also overextended at the time too, right? So right now it's normalizing itself, finding that average true range, and getting where it needs to go. So all in all, very good shape here. I don't see anything that's bearish whatsoever for Floki. And I would say that we have a nice long potential here for Floki to break its all-time high and continue. And let's look at that. What would that look like? What is the potential here for Floki on the big picture? So let's just say we're to kind of repeat the same behavior as before, right? We're to have another 672% increase. Granted, it will not be that large, right? Obviously. But it would be about 88% from its all-time high. So if we go 88% higher above its all-time high, which according to Fibonacci retracement is going to put us right at about 75,850. So 75.8 is essentially a potential for Floki. And just bear this in mind too, it took Floki, approximately, that was roughly, I would say 2 to 3 weeks in this time frame. So another 2 to 3 weeks, we could very well see the price come up. So for lack of better terms, if Floki breaks this all-time high, then we can expect a price range somewhere around 75,800. I would say more so realistically by year end, not necessarily month end, because November is coming to a close sooner than later, right? We're already got Thanksgiving next week, and we're going to be in a position where there's only about 10, 11 trading days left this month. Will it happen? Or sorry, can it happen in that short amount of time? Yes, it's proven to do that. Will it happen? Hard to say, a little too early at this point. We need to look at it again here in another 24, 48 hours, see what kind of movement it's making, contrary to Bitcoin. And obviously, hopefully, Bitcoin stabilizes a little bit more, consolidates about 58,000 and increases. Those are all things that we want to see happen. So hopefully we can see that. Now, if you are new to the channel, thank you so much for joining me here. I forgot to mention that I love teaching people how to trade, and this is kind of my passion. So if you would like to consider joining my Patreon community, where I share all of my trades with my members, I send out signals through an automated trading bot, which is nice. You can one-click follow if you want. But more importantly, you can kind of get the feel for a day life of a trader and what it takes to survive in this industry, right? I average about 85% success rate. I'm not ashamed to admit it, and it's a really awesome experience. So thank you so much to my current patrons, all 200 plus of you. You are amazing. Greatly, deeply appreciate you. So thanks again for the request. We'll look forward to seeing you all in the next video. Have a good rest of your day. Take care.